What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 4 of our Onshape mini-series. We're going to be hopping into something we've already made and looking at some of the features of creating a drawing file. So let's hop immediately kind of right into it. First thing I'm going to do is click the plus icon on the bottom left and then click Create Drawing. You're going to notice I have some options here that you don't have, and we're just going to click a title block that's going to be in the units we're going to be using, and so we're going to hit with this ANSI inch drawing. Then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. From here, we notice that we've got kind of a generic title block down at the bottom. It already has some of our information filled in. And then we also have a dialog box up here about what we would like to bring into our environment. I'm actually going to be using some of our Part Studios, and I'm actually going to pull in all of Part Studio 1. And this allows me to pull in my entire dum-dum as is rather than those individual pieces. I'm going to hit then the escape key. So we're going to click once, and I've got my front view here. If we double click on it, we can then change the scaling of it. So the scale looks a little small, so I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to 1:1 scale. You'll notice that at the bottom it will have the scaling of that image because the scaling that is referenced in our drawing file is 1:2, but our image is 1:1. We're going to then do our projected views. So I'm going to then click Project View of our front. Click on once of our parent viewer here. We're going to go to the right, and then click one more time and then go up. So there's our front, there's our right, there's our top, and then we actually can do our isometric if we go up and to the right. We can drag around those views, so I know it's a little crammed right now, but overall we're okay. I'm going to then hit escape on my keyboard and then get out of that command. Notice how if I drag around the parent, it will also change where those views are at, the right and the top. It won't change the isometric. So we can kind of adjust where our images are at, our drawing files or views, but let's do some more edits to it before we hop on out of here. I'm going to double click on that isometric view, and you notice it says the orientation isometric. You do have some other features in here we can look at, but sometimes they're isometric. We might need to bump down that scaling again. And you can do that just individually because remember, this isometric is not attached to your multi-views here. I'm going to right click on it and hit Show Hide, and we can actually show shaded view, and it'll bring in our 3D shaded view here. I do want to bump up that ratio back though. Let's bring it back to 1:1. Alright, so we can see our shaded view. Looks pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is add in some dimensions. So I'm going to hit D on my keyboard for dimension, and we can dimension pretty much any of the geometry we see. We can select an individual line. So if I want to select this radius right here, this arc, it'll give me a radial value. Same thing on the bottom side. It'll give me a radial value of just that line segment. If we have a full circle, so I'm going to hit D for dimension, notice how it will not have the radial value, but it'll have a dimensional value of the diameter because that's a full complete circle. We're still under the dimension command, so we can actually dimension between two lines. So if we want to measure this thickness right here, we click first click's the top, second click's going to be the bottom, and now we're looking at the distance between those lines. I don't like where that number landed, so I'm going to hit escape real quick. I'm going to click on that line and drag it around until that value populates an area where it's not going to be too busy. So we've got our overall thickness, we've got some radial values. I'm going to go ahead and just do D for dimension and say our stick length measured is right there. So you were able to click at the top of that stick value and then click on the bottom one more time over the side, and that'll give you our stick length. Again, your numbers might be different than mine. That's totally okay because all dum-dums are going to be a little different, and that's all right. We'll notice that I actually didn't need this right view, so we can click on it once and hit delete, and we just need the front really and the top. Next, we're going into what are some other commands you're going to need potentially when you do some drawing files, and that'll be center lines and center marks. So we can do a center line by looking at edge to edge. So if I click on the edge to edge center line, we can zoom in here nice and tight, click between two lines, and then I'm going to hit escape key because we're going to go ahead and just pull that all the way up and through. And then next we've got our center marks. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on center mark. And there we go. Just click on one of those circles. They both overlap, so the center marks are going to be the same. Alrighty, I'm sure there's other dimensions I could throw in here. However, I do want to show one more. I'm going to hop on with me for just a few more moments, and that is going to be section view and detail view. So when we look at detail view, let's say for example, I need to look at information that is too compact for the drawing we're looking at. So under detail view, first click is what you're going to be looking at closer. Second click is how big of an area are we looking at. And then it'll blow up that view for a detailed view. So if, let's say we need to put more information in there, you could say, well, we need to blow that up so we can see some of that information more closely. So we could even dimension that detail view, and I want you to notice that 1/4 inch is the same as it is there and there. Okay. Another thing we can look at is going to be section view. So I'm going to undo a couple times. Let's get back to where we were. And then let's also look at some section view. There's a couple different items here, so I'm going to click on this first section view. And the first click is going to be what is your knife? What are you cutting through? And then the second one is what direction is that section view going to be of? Are we looking at the left half of this, or are we looking at the right half of that section view? So I'm going to go ahead and say, click on that left half of that section view, and here's what we can see. We can see, one, our dum-dum has a inside dimensions that we may need to see from that section view. We can even then dimension those section view lines and say, hey, our stick length is actually 2.708. All right, cool. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about drawing files, we did kind of a shotgun blast here of information. Throw them down in the comment section. I'd love to help you out if you need the help. If not, good luck on the next video, and hopefully you've been enjoying these series. Take care.